Eric Weinstein asks about the asset dimensions, which are a key theme within the enterprise canvas model about service relationships. It's also extremely important in almost anything to do with process modeling and process flows. Assets, when we talk about assets in conventional IT-centric architecture, we're really only talking about data and data flows. But when we're talking about a whole enterprise architecture covering the whole space, which in reality we need to do, we're actually talking about various combinations of 4 quite different dimensions: physical, virtual, relational, and aspirational. And any object can be any kind of combination of those. For example, a book is physical and carries information. The key distinctions are that things are alienable, for example, and that's only applicable to the physical dimension. If I give you something, a thing, a physical thing, I no longer have it. Whereas if I give you a piece of information, I still have it. It's non-alienable. Then we've got the idea of assignable, which only applies to things that are physical and virtual, or virtual, which is that I can give you a physical thing, I can give you information, but I can't give you a relationship. You have to build it yourself. I can't give you a sense of purpose. You have to build it yourself. Then there are things that are concrete or abstract. Concrete as opposed to abstract. So, for example, the concrete things, a relationship between 2 people is concrete. A physical thing is concrete. But data is abstract. It doesn't actually exist in tangible form until it's physical. Likewise, a sense of purpose, a sense of identity, is entirely intangible. And then there's the difference between intrinsic versus between. So physical things are, their nature is intrinsic. The asset itself is a thing in its own right. Data is a thing in its own right. But a relationship exists between 2 entities and 2 tangible entities. An aspirational asset or asset dimension exists between a person and an idea, a person and a memory, something between a tangible thing and a non-tangible thing. So any asset has combinations of these. As I say, a book contains information. So it's a physical object that contains data, it contains virtual information. The practical implications of this are things like, if you think of the standard CRUD rules, create, read, update, delete, that we apply to all forms of data. Well, with physical things, we have to add to that things like, how are you going to store it? How are you going to maintain it? How are you going to track its deterioration over time? These are quite different from the data itself, where we don't have to worry about the storage of the data itself. It's separate from the data itself. We have to store data in something physical. And we also can't transfer a relationship. I can't give you a relationship that I have with someone else. I can't give you my identity. I can't give you my sense of purpose. I can't give you the things that drive me. You have to find your own. Where that comes very interesting is in the the links between relational assets in a business, such as when a person comes into a store and builds a relationship with the person behind the store. The purpose of a brand, which is an aspirational dimension asset, is so that I can go into another branch of the same company and start to build a relationship much more quickly with another person, because I've already got a first modicum of trust with that person. I haven't got to go through the whole process all over again. They're working for the same brand, therefore they're in the same story, so I can go much more quickly through the relationship and then through to the transactions and so on. So the asset dimensions are a way of helping us understand these rather crucial distinctions about alienable versus non-alienable, assignable versus not assignable, concrete versus abstract, and intrinsic versus between, which help us understand what we can do with each of those entities and how we can relate them one to the other. So the asset dimensions: physical, things; virtual, data; relational, links between people; and aspirational, links to purpose, to idea, to identity. These are very valuable in an architecture environment.